In this video, I've got 4 brilliant casino games to share with you that the majority of players ignore or simply don't even know they exist. These games seem to go under the radar and don't get the appreciation they deserve. And it makes sense because casinos would rather you play the new flashy slot machines with all the bells and whistles rather than play games with good odds that give you a reasonable chance of walking away as a winner. These 4 hidden gems are not solely based on the house edge. I've also considered how entertaining they are, as well as how smarter gamblers like you could use these games to implement strategies and increase your probabilities of winning. Now unfortunately, these games aren't found in all casinos. In fact, the majority of casinos don't offer them, but if you can find one of these games, I encourage you to try them out for yourselves. I'm going to start with the obvious one that I mention quite often to my community. I am sorry to the regular viewers of this channel, but for any newcomers, the first game I'm referring to is French Roulette. Don't for a minute think I'm saying the game of roulette is a hidden gem casino game. I'm saying the elusive French version is a hidden gem because it's quite literally 4 times better for your bankroll than the American version, which unfortunately millions and millions of players are playing. This is only the case if you're playing even chance bets, as the special Partage or En Prison rule means that you receive half of your money back when the ball lands in zero. Oh, and did I mention there's only 1 zero rather than 2. Finding these hidden gems at live casinos is very rare, and if you're based in the USA, they basically don't exist. However, if you like to play online, there are good casinos in all parts of the world offering this version of roulette. I have them featured on my website, so you can use the link in the description and I'll help you find one depending on where in the world you live. Now on the topic of casino games that look very similar to other popular games, that brings us nicely to our second gem, and that's Blackjack. But don't worry, not just any old Blackjack, I'm talking about single deck Blackjack. With all of the rules being equal, the single deck variation of Blackjack gives you the best odds. Now I'll confess, when I was first told this by my casino supervisor, it never really made sense to me. How does the number of decks affect the house edge? There's still the same percentage of low cards and high cards, surely it's exactly the same probabilities. Well, it turns out it does make a difference. Let me explain with a basic overview of the maths behind this realisation. If you would like to see a more detailed video, please let me know in the comments. The reason single deck is better than multi-deck is all to do with the impact your cards have on the remaining deck of cards. For example, if you as the player have a blackjack, then the probability of the dealer also having a blackjack on the same hand is reduced quite dramatically. When playing an 8-deck game, the probability of the dealer having a blackjack at the same time we do is about 1 in every 21.7 blackjacks. When playing a single deck game, the probability of this happening is now 1 in every 27.25 blackjacks. So on a single deck game, we basically have an additional 6 more blackjacks where we won't push with the dealer and we will get paid our full 3-2 odds. These subtle differences can make all the difference when playing blackjack over a long period of time. As if winning more blackjack wasn't good enough, there's more good news. On a single deck blackjack game, when you receive a 9, 10 or 11, you're also more likely to make a good hand when you double down. That's because to make a score of 9, 10 or 11, more often than not, your hand will be made up of 2 smaller cards. With 2 small cards already on the table, that means there's an increased probability of big cards remaining in the deck which will turn your double down into a winner. On the other hand, a blackjack game with 8 decks, the impact of your 2 small cards on the rest of the 8 decks is heavily diluted in comparison to the single deck game. Now a quick heads up before you go and play a single deck blackjack game. Some casinos can be sneaky and change some other rules that will actually make the game worse, the most common being the payout of a blackjack. A single deck blackjack that pays 6-5 on blackjack is not better than an 8-deck game paying 3-2, but if the payout is the same and you're given the option, then you should pick the single deck game. Hidden gem number 3 has been featured on this channel before, but most of you haven't seen it. It didn't get many views despite what I thought was a really good video highlighting a strategy I like to use to make good consistent wins. You can watch that video here, after this one of course. You don't find this game in any live casino, but some of the newer online casinos offer it. It's called Dice, but it's not the regular game of dice that also goes by the name of craps. The rules are outrageously simple and the house edge is outrageously low, meaning that you've got a really good chance of making money. The game works by simply betting on the outcome of a single dice. The dice is numbered from 1 to 100 and you have the freedom to bet on whatever you like. For example, you could bet that the outcome will be higher than a score of 50 or bet that it will be lower than a score of 10. The choice is entirely up to you. So then what makes this game a hidden gem? Well, that's because of the payouts on your bets are very close to true odds, and the house edge on this game is just 1%. It's fast, it's fun, and it caters to any risk level. If you like your 50 to 1 long shots, then you can make that bet. Or if you prefer to play it safer and bring home small wins, then that's a strategy you can implement. I have personally found that the D'Alembert betting system works really well when playing the even chance odds. Your options of places to play this game are a bit limited. I like to play this game at Kate.io. You can check out my review of Kate using the link in the description. The next gem in this video, you'll be pleased to hear, is far more accessible and it's available in the majority of live casinos and online casinos. However, you need to be aware that just like Blackjack and Roulette, there are different variations of this game, so keep an eye out to make sure the casino isn't ripping you off. The game I'm talking about is video poker. Unless the casino you're playing at is up to some funny business, even the worst variation of video poker is a pretty good game to play. If you really want to find a gem, then keep an eye out for the variation called Juice's Wild. And the absolute cherry on the top would be if it also offers a progressive jackpot. With the house edge on these games being less than 0.5%, if the progressive jackpot gets to a certain level, the house edge actually becomes negative and the edge now swings in the favour of the player. Yes, you heard that right. Playing certain video poker variations can occasionally have a positive expected win rate. That's of course if you play perfect strategy. Like most poker games, it involves both skill and luck. There's websites like the Wizard of Odds that have broken down the perfect strategy for almost every single combination of cards. I would recommend checking it out if you're interested in learning more about video poker. I plan to do more video poker content in the near future, as it's a really great game to play that not enough people know about. Are there any hidden gem casino games you've come across? Online casinos in particular are always trying to outdo each other by offering newer and more enticing games. Most of the time they're money traps that will take players' money faster than ever, but every now and again there's a new game released that's certainly worth playing. Subscribe to the channel and I will be sure to update the community with more hidden gems that I uncover. If you want to try out the dice game, then use the link in the description to learn more about Kate and how to receive a fantastic welcome bonus.